In a world where family ties can twist and turn, one sibling's unconventional bond raises a burning question. Is it wrong to let someone you've nurtured call you mom? As we dive into this heartfelt tale from Reddit, we'll explore the complexities of love, identity, and the labels we choose. Get ready to unravel the emotional layers of a relationship that defies traditional expectations. I have a challenging home life. My mother passed away when I was 8 years old, and my father has been largely absent since then. I have 3 younger brothers, one who is 26 years old, another who is 22 years old, and the youngest, who is 17 years old. This story will focus mainly on my 17-year-old brother. After my mother died, I took on the responsibility of raising my 2 younger brothers and handled about 95% of the work. My father's only contribution was providing me with weekly money to buy food and other necessities for the 3 of us. When I was 13 years old, my father brought home my youngest brother, who was just a few months old at the time. I had no idea he existed, nor did I know that my father was seeing someone. That night, my father and I had a terrible fight, and since then, our communication has been very limited. I have raised all 3 of my brothers. My eldest brother, whom I will refer to as Jake, remembered life before our mother passed away for a long time. He resented me throughout his childhood, often expressing sentiments like, "You're not my mom," during his junior high years. As a result, I never saw him in a son role, and he certainly did not see me in a motherly role. My middle brother, whom I will call Sam, was a baby when our mother died. As he grew up, he occasionally referred to me as mom, but I would correct him and remind him of our mother, insisting that I was just his sister. He viewed me more as a mother figure than Jake did, but he still recognized me primarily as a sister. In contrast, my youngest brother, whom I will refer to as Henry, completely views me as a mother, and I see him as my son. I know I am not his mother, but I have no information about her. I have her first and last name, but I cannot find any details about her. When he was younger and began calling me mom, I initially tried to correct him, but eventually I gave up. Here's the issue I am facing. Yesterday, while on my break at work, I texted a group chat with my husband, who is 30 years old, my daughter, who is 10 years old, and Henry, asking what they wanted for dinner and what I should pick up from the store. Henry replied with, "Just some chips, thanks mom." I thought nothing of it. However, a coworker who is 24 years old looked over my shoulder and found it odd that my brother was calling me mom. I would describe my relationship with this coworker as decent. We have gone out for drinks a few times after work, and I have shared some details about my family life with her. I tried to explain our situation yesterday and how I have raised Henry since he was 3 months old, but she did not seem to understand. She then went around the workplace telling others that my brother calls me mom. I find it perplexing that this has become an issue and why some coworkers are picking sides. Approximately 60% of the people she has informed agree that my brother calling me mom is strange, while the others seem indifferent, which is fair. I genuinely do not understand the problem here and would like to hear others' opinions. Thank you for listening. You behaved properly. Seriously, your coworkers have no idea what they're talking about. You've been a mom to your brother since he was just a few months old, and that bond is what truly matters. It sounds like he sees you as his mom because you filled that role so beautifully in his life. People are quick to judge, but the only opinions that count are those of you, your brother, and your family. It's amazing that he's comfortable enough to call you that. It just shows the love and trust he has in you. Keep being the incredible figure you are, and don't let anyone's negativity get to you. Wishing you all the best. In the next story, prepare for a gripping tale of standing up for yourself in the face of hurtful words. When a classmate crosses the line with a slur, one student must decide whether to seek help or handle it alone. Tune in as we explore the fallout and the question that lingers. Was it the right move? I am a 17-year-old female, and I have a music class with 2 sophomore girls, both 15 years old. Their names are Addison and Hazel. These are not their real names. Addison is very kind and creative, and I get along well with her. Hazel is preppy and popular in her grade. For context, I am bisexual and have been open about my identity for about 4 years. Addison is also part of the queer spectrum, while Hazel is straight. Yesterday in class, we were playfully exchanging lighthearted insults. Hazel called me a dinosaur, and I responded with a lighthearted remark about her height. Hazel then immediately replied with an offensive term aimed at me. I was taken aback and decided to stop talking to her. After class, I approached her in the hallway and said, "Hey, I understand some people are okay with being called that, but I personally have a bad history with it. Please don't call me that again." I remember my words clearly because I had rehearsed them in my mind throughout class. She responded, "Oh, well, it's okay. I have the pass." I scoffed and asked, "Okay, who gave you the pass?" She claimed her best friend gave it to her, and I said, "Yeah, but I didn't. Please just don't call me that." She rolled her eyes and walked away. I did not plan to bring it up again since I have dealt with worse comments due to being out for a long time in the South. However, after school, Addison sent me a text with a screenshot of a conversation she had with Hazel. In that message, Hazel described how I had gotten upset over the offensive term and mentioned that she felt unaffected by it. She talked about how she could have said more but chose not to and expressed her disdain for me. Feeling frustrated by Hazel's attitude, I looked through her social media posts and compiled everything she has said about gay people and people of color. I then emailed this information to my guidance counselor. Today, Hazel was upset with me because she had to sit out of practice and receive detention. I told her I did not care and that it was her fault for speaking disrespectfully. Am I the one in the wrong? Definitely, you haven't done anything wrong. It seems like she thought she could say whatever she wanted without facing any consequences. After using a slur and then doubling down, it's clear she's learned the hard way that words have weight. It's interesting to think about whether she'd still feel so entitled in a room full of the queer community. People need to realize that there are always repercussions for those kinds of comments. At the end of the day, it's about respect, and clearly she missed that memo. In the next story, we dive into a family group chat where tensions rise and secrets spill. When one sibling bravely decides to come out, the ripple effects challenge the dynamics of their entire family. But when an offensive comment ignites a confrontation, is it fair to pressure another sibling to follow suit? I am a 20-year-old male who is gay and have known for a while, but until recently, I only came out to my friends. My family has mixed reactions. Some are supportive, some are not, and most try to avoid controversial topics. My younger brother Jai, who is 18 years old and male, is quiet and reserved, but we have always been close. A few days ago, I decided it was time to come out to my extended family. I thought the family group chat would be the easiest way to avoid having multiple awkward individual conversations. I sent a simple message that read, "Hey everyone, I just wanted to let you know I am gay. It is not a big deal, but I wanted to be honest with you all." Most responses were positive. My cousin, who is 25 years old and female, sent a heart emoji. My grandmother said, "We love you no matter what," and my father sent his signature thumbs up emoji. However, things took a turn. My Aunt Sue replied, "I just don't get why this needed to be shared. Some things should stay private," my uncle stated. "As long as you do not push it on us, we are fine with it." Then my sister Anne, who is 22 years old and female and is married to a man who is homophobic, added, "Just do not be gay around my kids. They are too young to understand all of that." I was taken aback by what I was reading. I replied, "Wow, Anne, do your kids need to understand you being straight, or is that just reserved for me?" She doubled down, saying, "It is just confusing for kids. I am trying to protect them. I would hate for them to turn out like you." My aunt backed her up, saying, "She has a point. Kids do not need to be exposed to everything." I replied, "Well, maybe you should have kept your legs closed if you cannot support your children." This is where things escalated. My mother claimed that what I said was out of pocket and shaming. My sister became very upset and said that I was shaming her and that I need to go to the psychiatric ward. That is when Jay, who had been silent, suddenly sent a message that read, "I am gay too, so maybe think about how your words are hurting both of us." This led to absolute chaos. Aunt Sue became frantic, saying, "What is happening to this family?" My sister accused me of forcing Jay to come out and said, "You are making everyone uncomfortable. He only said that because you pressured him." I snapped and replied, "Or maybe Jay felt brave enough to be himself after hearing your hurtful comments. God forbid your kids grow up in a world where people are treated equally." My sister became furious, saying, "Do not you dare bring my kids into this. You are trying to tear this family apart." Jay left the chat entirely. My mother sent me a text saying, "This is not the way to handle this," and my father tried to check on Jai, but he has not replied to anyone since. Meanwhile, my grandmother sent a long message about how family should stick together. Now my mother says I should apologize for escalating things, and Anne is angry, accusing me of ruining her life. I feel bad that Jay came out in such a heated moment, but I did not force him to say anything. Did I go too far? You are not the cause of this issue, OP. It sounds like your brother's decision to come out in solidarity with you was a brave move, and it's really unfortunate that your family reacted so poorly. You definitely shouldn't apologize to anyone for being your true self. It's messed up that some family members, especially your sister, chose to respond with such bigotry instead of support. Their comments were not only ignorant but also hurtful, and you had every right to stand up for yourself. Family can sometimes be a tough pill to swallow, but it's important to remember that the family you choose, those who truly love and support you, is what matters most. Just make sure you and your brother are safe, and it might be a good idea to start planning for a future away from all that negativity. I hope things get better for both of you. In the next story, we dive into a heated family debate that has sparked a whirlwind of opinions. A parent grapples with the tough decision of whether to allow their kids to visit their grandparents, raising questions about boundaries and safety. Join us as we uncover the layers of this emotional dilemma and explore the perspectives that have divided a family. Hello everyone. I previously shared a post about my ex's wife staging a religious intervention when my son decided to embrace Judaism and become bar mitzvah. My ex and I have 3 children, Amy, who is 18 years old, Tom, who is 16 years old, and Ben, who is 15 years old. After receiving feedback from the community, I realized I had been underreacting, and I consulted a lawyer for a custody order. I now have full decision-making authority concerning our children's religious upbringing and full custody. My ex has visitation every other weekend, and I had been flexible in allowing him time with the children when he or they want it. During his visitation weekends, I stay with my parents while he remains in the house. The only rule I have is that the stepmother cannot be around them at all. My children are very close with their paternal grandparents. They know that the stepmother should not be around, but on 2 occasions when I picked the children up, she was present. The excuse given was that she had just dropped off the baby. I asked my children to inform me in advance when they were visiting, so we could plan a different day, but they said it was a last-minute situation. The grandparents want my children to visit them for 5 days over Christmas break, excluding the 24th and 25th of December. However, I cannot trust that the stepmother will not come over during that time. Ben still experiences significant anxiety when she is around, and he is currently in therapy. My in-laws refuse to tell her that she cannot visit because they do not want to be put in the middle and feel it forces them to choose between their grandchildren. I reached out to my ex, who stated that since the stepmother would not be present for a long time, he would not prevent her from visiting. He also mentioned that there is nothing in the custody order preventing her from being around and that, as his wife and the mother of their child, there is no reason she should have to tiptoe around. He was dismissive, which led to a heated exchange. I explained that I had been accommodating in allowing him to see the children despite only having 2 weekends a month, and that if the stepmother continued to visit, I would seek supervised visits and a restraining order against her. Our conversation ended abruptly. I then asked the children what they wanted. I discovered that the stepmother had been visiting frequently. Amy mentioned that their grandparents had asked them not to say anything to avoid upsetting me. I informed my daughter that as an adult, she could choose to go, but her brothers would not be joining her. Ben's expression of relief broke my heart. Amy also expressed that she felt uncomfortable when the stepmother showed up, and Tom stated that he would support Ben. I called my ex-mother-in-law and informed her that the children would not be returning until they made that decision. I extended an invitation for her to visit the children instead. I emphasized that it was wrong for them to ask the children to keep secrets. She contacted my ex, who criticized me for punishing his parents. The stepmother sent me a message saying I was being unfair. I believe I am making the right decision, but others think I am in the wrong. Am I? You are not in the wrong. It's really about protecting the kids, especially Ben, who has clearly been impacted by the stepmother's actions. When the grandparents and your ex can't respect the boundaries established for the kids' emotional safety, it's totally reasonable to limit their access. This isn't about punishment. It's about consequences for their choices, like asking the kids to keep secrets from you, which is just wrong. Anyone who puts children in a position to lie to their parents definitely shouldn't be spending time alone with them. If they want to call it punishment, that's on them. They made the choice to disregard your wishes. Ultimately, the kids' well-being comes first, and that's what really matters here. In the next story, we delve into a thought-provoking dilemma that unfolds when personal priorities clash with momentous life events. Imagine standing at a crossroads where love and ambition intersect, forcing one partner to make a heart-wrenching decision. Will they choose their relationship or a moment of celebration? Stay tuned to find out. My boyfriend, who is 21 years old, is graduating from college this Friday, but his college is over 1,000 miles away from mine. I am 20 years old and I have a final exam the morning of his graduation. He is really upset that I won't be there. For context, we met over a year and a half ago and instantly connected. Despite the distance, we couldn't stay away from each other. Over time, we have supported each other through many challenges, including some difficult situations he faced involving death and an injury. Although I always wanted to make our relationship official, I knew he needed time to heal. Over the summer, we would talk all night about what he was going through, and then I would get up early for work. Eventually, he asked me to be his girlfriend in a really sweet way when we saw each other in person. This semester has been especially tough for me as I am double majoring in 2 types of engineering. I have 5 finals in total, all in difficult subjects. The first final is not during finals week. It is scheduled for this Friday morning from 9 to 10 a.m., while his graduation ceremony is at 2 p.m. All available flights take around 16 hours of total travel time. There are some flights that are a bit shorter, but none are close to only 4 hours. Additionally, all flights are priced at over $700. Last night, I saw a message from him expressing how much he wanted me at his graduation. I FaceTimed him in hopes of discussing it, but when he answered, he looked visibly upset. He told me he understood why I could not attend, but he seemed very aggressive about it and acted like it was unacceptable. I asked if he expected me to skip my final, and he said no but kept repeating, "That's just reality." After going in circles for a while, he mentioned that people at his graduation would ask where I was. He said that individuals he had rejected would be attending and would think, how great can this girl be if she can't even make the effort to go to his graduation? He also pointed out that others were going out of their way to make the drive or book flights to be there for him. I repeatedly expressed how guilty I felt and assured him that I would make it up to him somehow and watch the live stream. However, he said he did not care if I watched the live stream because it did not mean anything since I would not be there. He was looking forward to sharing all the graduation traditions with me the day before and after the ceremony, as well as for me to meet the important people in his life. I expressed again that I really wished I could be there, and in a frustrated tone, I said, That's reality, but if you really wanted to be there, I believe you could. I can see myself spending my life with him, and I truly want to find a solution or a way to make it up to him. We have shared many amazing memories and special moments together. However, he makes me feel like it is entirely my fault when I cannot change the circumstances. So, am I the antagonist for not attending my boyfriend's graduation? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk here, and honestly, why is this even a question? Missing a final for someone else's graduation is a huge sacrifice that could hurt your future. It's clear this guy doesn't care about the impact on your education. He just wants you there to boost his ego. If he can't recognize that your priorities matter too, it's a red flag. Let's be real. If he's this self-centered now, what will it be like later? Imagine how he'll react when you have to prioritize your career or personal commitments over his wants. It sounds like he's manipulating you into feeling guilty for not putting him first, which isn't love. Remember, your dreams and efforts are just as important, so make the right choice and stick to your final. You deserve someone who respects that. In the next story, we dive into a heated debate that unfolds when one flatmate takes extreme measures while the other is away for the holidays. Emotions run high as boundaries are tested and the question lingers. Was this move justified or just plain petty? Get ready to explore the intricacies of shared living and the fine line between a roommate's rights and responsibilities. I am a university freshman, along with my flatmates, Madison, Simon, Robert, and Liam. One day, Madison sent me a private message expressing that she did not appreciate how I communicated with her in the flat group chat. I tend to be a very jokey person, so I thought I might have gone too far with my sarcasm and apologized immediately. However, she did not respond to my message and did not return to the flat for weeks. I became worried when I noticed her Life 360 was off as well. Simon messaged the group chat about a mini rice cooker. He asked whose it was, and Madison replied that it was hers. Simon then commented that there was only mold inside. Liam reacted by expressing surprise, and Madison seemed confused by the responses. I was disgusted when I saw the picture because I remembered sitting in the kitchen with her when she cooked that rice the previous month. I took another picture of the rice to share in the chat, mentioning that her avocados had also gone moldy and that I had thrown them out. She did not reply. The next day, I reminded her to dispose of the rice as it was causing a foul smell in the kitchen. She responded by asking if anyone had seen her pot. I sent her 2 private messages as reminders, but there was no reply. Eventually, I encountered her in the kitchen at 4 a.m. with her friends. I apologized to her in person again and reminded her to throw away the rice. She said it was fine and that she would take care of it, but she did not remove it, and it remained for several more days. I decided to triple bag the rice cooker and left it by the bin, sharing a picture in the chat, asking Madison to please throw it away. Madison responded by saying that she was not even there and that she had lost her pan because she had gone home for Christmas break in Thailand. I expressed my concern about the rice being a health hazard. Madison suggested just putting the rice cooker where the vacuum was located. I explained that it could heat up and produce more mold. She insisted there was a lid on it. I reiterated that it would attract bugs and rats, and Liam chimed in, saying he had thrown the rice away because it was disgusting. When Madison left for Christmas, she did not clean her section of the fridge. I disposed of food that was about to expire during the holiday, including open sauce packets leaking on the shelf, curdled milk, cookies, eggs, and vegetables that were sitting in water. My flatmate said her side of the shared fridge was filthy for weeks. I informed the chat about what I had done. Madison simply replied with K. I sent her a video of the cleanup, but she complained that I was disrespecting her space. She claimed the sauces were still fine to eat and expensive. She accused me of nagging and insisted that I should not touch her side of the fridge since I did not use it, as I shared a mini fridge with Robert. She reiterated that the sauces were expensive. I felt somewhat guilty for clearing her items out, especially since she was dealing with personal issues and trying to heal. I admit I did express my frustration in the group chat after her K response. However, I felt it was necessary to act because the food was going to expire over the holidays, and since I was staying in the flat during Christmas, I wanted to avoid unpleasant odors. So, am I in the wrong? That situation sounds absolutely disgusting. Leaving moldy food in a shared space for weeks is just asking for trouble. It's wild that some people can be so careless about their living environment. It's like they expect someone else to pick up after them. Honestly, it's embarrassing for everyone involved. If someone is too lazy to clean up their mess, they deserve a reality check. Hopefully, this serves as a reminder to choose better roommates in the future. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.